how right our customers should be. This is a difficult question that business has been trying to answer for about a couple hundred years now. We got a couple of answers throughout these years, such as what Ford said a while ago, when Henry Ford said that if we only listened to customers, we'd be still riding horses when the first automobile came out. It's a different view from what people generally expected, that we only produce what they wanted. So throughout the years, there's been multiple different ways that people try to now manage how they run their businesses. So there's lots of questions that they go through. It's like, what is the best way to run a business? How should we sell our products? And should we focus on our external and internal factors, understanding that? And also, how are we going to compensate our people in the business? Particularly, we're going to be focusing on the salespeople in this presentation. We're going to be discussing two different types of sales models, which is the outcome control system and behavioral control system. Outcome control system, which some describe as a system that's considering their customers as king. This is due to them considering which measures and rewards based off the results of their sales, representatives interactions with customers. The results are measured through financial figures such as market share, contributions to profit, sales, and etc. They use 2 or 3 of these metrics, and a substantial portion of each of salesperson's compensation and it is determined by the customer's behavior. Due to this, the system allows salesmen to enjoy autonomy, and they are expected by the business to use it by making personal strategies and to find and land new customers. Their focus is to please the customers rather than pleasing the managers, which does lead to some conflicts within the business. But what they do is the salesperson will always stay on the customer side than the companies during negotiations. This may lead to essentially bad deals for the company, but that leads to the salesperson being rewarded by getting more, in a sense. This tends to cause conflict from time to time with managers, since they also barely supervise the work and give them any assistance through any training. This system is mainly used for more experienced salespeople who have been trained in some ways, or in other businesses that are like startups, for example. This kind of system fits more into business that has been in the market for a long time, as a veteran in some aspects. Due to that, this tends for them to be not so loyal to the business, and the employees tend to move to other employers which can provide them with a more promising pay package and better products to sell. These rewards are seen through tangible, such as money or trips, that everyone can see, and this creates a competitive culture within the company. This kind of system works in cultures within countries such as the United States, Canada, or Italy, for example, and more so if salesmen have a substantial influence on results, such as results which is the sales' biggest determinant is their efforts and skills. If you want to decide if you want to use the system, there are 3 factors that you need to consider to make sure if it fits right. Is how much do you allow customers to know a lot of information? Are your sales open for negotiation? And is the customers, and do you create a lot of trust with if the salesperson is allowed to make a lot of is the customers allowed to have trust with the salespeople? in a sense, like that the salespeople are allowed to create strong ties with these particular customers. Next, I'm going to be discussing behavioral control system, which is a bit different from the way that outcome control system works, because they focus more on what makes the manager happy, or you could even consider the manager king. The management for this system, the management also do a measurement system with the salespeople's performance, but they do it in more in terms of what they actually do, such as their efforts, activities, and hours they put in. For example, they even do measures with the competency and appearance of the salespeople. So it's more of they more measure the subjective attributes when evaluating. Due to the subjectiveness of this measure, even managers struggle on how to implement them at times. But luckily most of the compensation is fixed, or in other words, they have a fixed salary, and the measurements fulfill the variable aspect of that is more of the bonus compensation that you get. There is also visible acknowledgements such as also in outcome control system, but that isn't the most important aspect for these employees, where they get most of their motivation from their intrinsic rewards, such as personal growth as a salesperson. In this system, the salesmen try to side with their customers, but to a certain extent, they understand that the company must also get their fair share from these interactions. So they must make sure the company doesn't get on the losing side. One of the key differences between outcome control and behavior control is that the behavior control actually trains their sales staff in comparison to outcome control, which is more autonomy type system where they do their own thing, where managers barely interfere, while in here the managers interfere through regular checks and advice and training on a regular basis. And another aspect that kind of also separates is that the behavior control system is actually a lot more. It has been shown to be a lot more adaptable for the new employees than the outcome control, due to the chaotic and competitive nature of it, where people wouldn't be as open to help for them for adjustments. So when does the system work for you? When does it fit? It's particularly when your salespeople lack experience. Is when you lack experience, so that you need to do some training for them. Another one is that you need to protect your brand. If you have inconsistent salespeople, it would lead to kind of a bad image. So if you get some people who are very good, such as what you get in outcome control, and some people bad in outcome control, it won't be too much because it's more of an individual-based relationship. But when they do with a behavioral control system, it's more of a company relationship that the customer has, rather than a personal between sales representatives. There's also that if the company has high non-sales priorities, such as and due to that kind of system, it's outcome control system also often poaches the managers from the behavior control systems. The next one is that it's hard to assign sales credit. This is due to the fact that behavior control systems have fewer demands on the accounting, in contrast to outcome control system, where they have required to see more individual contributions, so to manage to do their rewarding for the business.
Okay, so having a look at the OC and BC system and their intentions, one can see that employees in a firm which is using the OC system are always going to support the customer side when negotiating about certain things. Hence, they're seeing the employees as an income-producing entity, which leads to salespeople at OC firms not having any harm on switching to any other employee if they offer a more promising pay package and better products to sell. The values employees have who work in a BC system are different than the ones in the OC. People working in a BC system tend to stay in the company for longer as they're valued as a person, and what they bring to the job as salespeople is valued as well. The company we are focusing on to further identify which strategy is best for them is Tesla. They are a good example when looking at the numbers of employees, which have grown by roughly 28,500 with 1 year between the end of 2020 to 2021, which proves that the conditions for Tesla employees must be good. So moving to the qualitative analysis, we can look at the advantages and disadvantages of both strategies and compare them in a SWOT analysis in which the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats which a business may face when working on these strategies will be discussed. Generally speaking, it is a strength of the outcome control system that they have the tendency to maintain a strong customer relationship. However, when looking at the automobile industry, it is not their main priority to have repeated customers, but is rather to maintain a strong customer relationship. Another strength of the OC strategy is the competitiveness between the employees. Big sales of salespeople get rewarded with tangible goods. The BC strategy, on the other hand, has strengths such as the loyalty of the employee towards the company. Hence, one of the weaknesses of the OC strategy is, as mentioned in the quantitative analysis, employees leaving the firm as soon as there is a better offer on the table. The other strength a company can make advantage of when using the BC strategy is to get employer loyalty, as they consider the individual strength of their employees. So looking at the weaknesses a firm might face when using the BC strategy, the communication about evaluation systems can be an issue internally within the firm, as the evaluation system can be very devious, which makes it hard for the employees and managers to estimate whether they're doing an actually good job or if different things are required. Furthermore, the OC system can bring many opportunities with it, which a firm can make use of, such as the mentioned customer loyalty, as well as employees being able to contribute more into the business, bringing in a different perspective on what the customer wants, as they are seen as entrepreneurs who craft and execute personal strategies, only having in mind the well-being of the customer. The BC strategy brings opportunities with it, such that the employees being employed under that strategy might bring better qualifications with them and bring more profit into the company, as they are passionate about the business they work in and have a good relationship with their management. The firm can definitely make use of that. Threats a company might face when working under the OC strategy can be that if their rivals are aware of the strategy they're using, they can take advantage of it and try and poach their employees. In an OC strategy, the firm will still need to find a way of making the firm an attractive employer for the people working for them. External threats for a BC strategy can be potential unsatisfied customers. Managers within such firms need to make sure that the salespeople are not neglecting their customers and focus on their wants and needs as much as they should. A result of unsatisfied customers can be that a firm loses them and that they buy from the rival firm next time.
Moving on to the decision criterion and recommendation. There are many benefits to both outcome control and behavior control. Some of the benefits of outcome control are salespersons make final decisions, and also the managers give salespersons more freedom to make their own decisions. The benefits of behavior control are managers evaluate salespersons' performance and also have heavy supervision. Automotive salespersons often deal with customers who most likely won't be reoccurring customers, as cars are very expensive and are only bought once every 4 to 6 years unless it is leased. Although they are not recurring customers, their first impressions are important, as that is what will determine if the customer wants to buy another vehicle with them. A good way of creating a good relationship with the customer is satisfying the customer's needs and not forcing or pushing them to buy products, as customers will feel unsatisfied and fooled to buying more products than needed. In this perspective, outcome control will benefit automotive companies, as salespersons will have the freedom to connect with customers and not feel like the manager is watching over them. This way, salespersons would also not feel pressured to sell certain items with customers. If automotive salespersons were to take the behavior control method, the company would focus towards a customer-based focus, which is not necessary for the company. If cars have many trim levels and different add-ons that customers can use to purchase the car to their liking, which is already enough for customer-based focus. Our recommendation is choosing the outcome control as this would be the best option. Tesla is a very innovative company that works on improving the customer experience of their vehicles. The customer relation is very important to them, and as more and more electric vehicles are available in the market with different companies. Having a strong relationship with their customers allows them to have more loyal customers. Salespersons who work on creating strong relationships with the customers can be best achieved with the outcome control method, as salespersons are given the freedom to get and build great connections with customers without having to get pressures from their managers.
Implementation begins with establishing an overarching umbrella of controls that Tesla personnel will follow. By this, we mean very few hardline controls on specific criteria that must be met in order to conduct your work. This would include things such as bottom line pricing level, where a salesperson has the freedom to negotiate and sell a product to the consumer down to a predetermined level, and a maximum number of combinations and features offered per product. After establishing these control criteria, the rest would be up to the salesperson themselves to become creative and innovative in how they attract potential customers. That's not to say that we let them roam free, but to give them the opportunity to meet with customers on their own terms, in their own style, and to serve them based on what the customer is seeking specifically in order to generate a sale. An incentivized reward structure based on personal performance and regional performance will help maintain a strong degree of eagerness to expand and better themselves as individuals to deliver an above market standard of quality and care to each customer. Personal performance is dictated on a standardized questionnaire form completed by customers after the completion of consultations, test drives, and sales. Additionally, each salesperson's monthly sales totals, referrals, and number of points of contact will be fed into a prorated system that will derive the highest performing sale criteria per salesperson. And this will determine the salesperson who ranks number one amongst all sales team within that specific dealership. This individual will have the privilege of taking a part in a variety of opportunities, such as traveling for work, taking part in regional or national level marketing campaigns to better their own name and brand, as well as a general reward type of incentive, such as pay bonuses and gifts. Regional performance metrics will look at criteria similar to personal performance, but as a collective of the specific locale of the dealership. This will create a national competition of sorts between dealerships in order to claim the top position and take part in benefits that will follow. Generally, greater bonuses, gifts, or opportunities. This is done so that within each region, there is an incentive for the sales team to work together and help each other in areas they may be lacking in order to capture a team victory of sorts. The idea is to foster a healthy culture and space to generate innovative practices.
Now that we've covered the implementation of the outcome-based control system at Tesla, let us now discuss some possible roadblocks that the organization can face while implementing this control system. The outcome-based control system formulated by Anderson and Onyeame has an incentive-based compensation system. By implementing an incentive-based compensation system, Tesla will yield quicker benefits at a lower fixed cost, as money is an effective motivator. But excessively relying on Salesforce incentives could render this benefit as a short-term benefit. Another roadblock Tesla can face in the implementation of an outcome-based control system is that the compensation model could tempt salespeople to employ inappropriate and unethical sales tactics to meet the bottom line. This can have a harmful long-term effect on customer relationships as well as on organizational culture. Lastly, an outcome-based control system is also heavily reliant on the competency of its sales force. A strict outcome-based control system is heavily decentralized and dependent on the whims of the sales force, therefore making sales forecasting quite unpredictable. In order to overcome the contingencies mentioned, we can employ certain methods to overcome them. The first method would be to have an extensive training program for the sales force in line with Tesla's policy and vision. By developing the salespeople through training and mentorship, Tesla can not only have an excellent sales force, but also reduce employee turnover by maintaining better employee relations. The second method would be to have a defined framework in place to direct sales efforts. Though sales is a priority, employees have to be aware of the boundaries they are not to cross in the efforts to bring in profits for the organization and incentives for themselves. And lastly, monitoring the customer's sales experience through customer feedback can also help to keep the sales force in check and help the management have a better idea about how the sales experience is at Tesla. Thank you.